Maybe you've noticed the stairs, the groceries, everything that's not as easy as they used to be. And you're starting to wonder, what would it look like to get a little help? At Care.com, asking for support doesn't mean giving up independence. The right kind of help lets you stay in charge. Whether you know what kind of care you need or you're just starting to look, Care.com is here to help. You can find background-checked in-home caregivers who fit your budget, or explore senior living communities at your own pace. Read reviews, request tours, compare options. And if it all feels overwhelming, our senior care advisors, all master's level social workers, can help you create a plan. For a limited time, use the code LISTEN20 for 20% off your initial Care.com subscription. That's LISTEN20, all one word, good for 20% off. Start your senior care journey with confidence.
Weight Watchers now offers access to affordable GLP-1s. It works for members like...
I'm Haley, and I've lost 100 pounds. Weight Watchers has everything I need, from weight loss medications to nutrition support and help with my side effects. It's all in one place.
Weight Watchers handles the insurance for you and offers affordable cash pay options. With our program, our members are losing more weight with expert nutrition and side effect support.
I'm Mike, and I've lost 135 pounds. Weight Watchers prescribing GLP-1 medications. It's been life-changing.
I'm Sharia, and I lost 80 pounds on Weight Watchers. I realized that it would take more than a prescription to lose weight and feel good on a GLP-1.
Better results, expert support, lose more weight, make it last.
I can't imagine doing a GLP-1 without Weight Watchers.
Get started for as low as $25 at weightwatchers.com/GLP1. For over 60 years, we've helped millions of members find what works for them. Now, it's your turn. Weight Watchers. Watch it work.
We all have things that we want to address in ourselves. And whether we admit it to ourselves or whether we tell other people about it, that's up to you. But we all have something we want to improve. And that's just a fact. And there's always room for improvements. And you have to be willing to actually, improve yourself and get yourself to the point where you're willing to experience the change and improve yourself and elevate yourself. And every person's different. So you just got to take the journey for yourself and know that there is something new to do about your mental health. And there is a reason for everything that's happening that you're not sure why it happens. There is a reason for it, and you can find out about it in Dianetics.
Welcome to the Bond Life Podcast, where fitness, mindset, and real talk collide. This isn't just about workouts. It's about transforming your body, mind, and life. Get ready for unfiltered conversations, expert advice, and the motivation you need to level up in every way. Hey everyone, welcome to the Bomb Life Podcast. I am Melissa Vogel, your host. Welcome to the show. If you're brand new, welcome. Always go back and listen to all of the episodes, as many as you can. Like seriously, sit down and Netflix and binge, but you're not going to be watching Netflix and I don't want you to binge either. So I guess I got to come up with a new way to say that. Podcast and walk. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. Go back and listen to all of it, because there are just not only great discount codes and products and stuff that you're going to want, but also you're really going to get an idea of what this show is about and the connection between your mental health, being a badass, physically losing weight, getting abs, living your best life ever, all of it. You're going to figure out how it's all connected. And we talk about everything on this show. I mean, we're talking sex, relationships, mindset, working out, how we talk to ourselves, nutrition, hormones, like you guys name it, we're talking about it. All right. So go back and listen. And even if you're a returning guest, welcome back. Go back and listen. I guarantee there are episodes that you have missed, and it just brings all of the pieces of the puzzle together. And today's episode is going to do just that too. So before we dive in here real quick, rate and review this episode, this podcast, 5 stars if you feel appropriate, and leave us a review. You guys, it does so many good things for this show. And really take time to, if there was an episode that speaks to you, take time to listen to it again. There is something magical and powerful about hearing a message twice or even 3 times. You catch things. I'm a nerd. I'm a super nerd. And I will listen to my own episode, 1 for edits, and I have to listen to stuff like that. And then 2, I listen to it as a listener. And then 3, I listen for like content, which that's a lot of listening to your own voice. But, I'm listening to the ones that I have guests on. And there's always something that I am like, holy crap, I didn't hear that the first time I listened. And I take a note on something, or it just pounds a message into my brain even more. So my recommendation, if there was an episode that you loved, go back and listen. Trust me, you'll probably write into the show and you'll be like, Melissa, I totally listened to that episode with so-and-so, and you guys were talking about this, and I went back and listened, and you're right. I heard so many other things. So go back and listen. Today, we are talking more about the mindset. Okay. We're talking about being like mentally stuck, things getting stored in the body. It's so amazing to, just keep finding guests and experts on this topic. And I said it at the beginning of the episode, and I'm going to say it again once we get started. You'll hear me say this, but I just have to say it again here in the intro, that you never know what episode is going to speak to you. This isn't new, right? We've talked about mindset stuff before. Nothing new here, but how we take this message in, it's new. Hearing from our guest, that's new. Things that I'm saying, you might have heard me say before, but now you hear me say it in a different way, that's new. And you just never know what's going to make it just like stick in your head and be like, oh my God, no, I get it. I get it now how she said that. Or I've heard Melissa say that before, but I never really understood what she meant. And now I heard it and wow. So you never know what episode's going to speak to you. You never know what episode's going to honestly change your life. You never know what book that we're like, go read this. And you're like, fine. And it does something. This episode could be one of those episodes for you. Today we have Josie Gibson on, and she's the director of communications for Bridge Publications. And Bridge Publications, it's an award-winning publishing house with state-of-the-art production and distribution facility. It's one of the largest and most advanced of its kind. And Josie leads all media outreach, publicity, communications for Bridge Publications. And she's an official spokesperson for Dianetics, the book Dianetics, the modern science of mental health, the all-time best-selling book on the mind. And Josie is uniquely qualified to discuss its practical application and its global reach that's spanning like 50 languages now and over 2 million readers. Dianetics is incredible. You guys have to get this book. And we're talking about everything that the book covers, being mentally stuck. Why you sit there and you do these irrational things or have irrational behaviors and you sit there and you go, why did I do that? Like I knew better. Why do I have this anxiety around this still? Why does this keep coming up? And you're going to see and start to really understand like why you behave a certain way and how do you change it for life. And we talk about this in the episode, you guys, our anxiety, our trauma, things that have happened to us, things that we aren't clearing, that we're not healing from, that we're just slapping band-aids on, that changes us. That silently shapes the way that we parent, love, train, go to the gym, everything. So when I'm like, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Are you guys ready to take the next step? Sure. Yeah. That means getting your ass up and going to the gym and make better choices. But there's work mentally that has to happen at the same time as the physical. And yes, I want you to book a call for sure. I want you to talk like how we can jump on board and get moving forward. But I'm going to tell you, I am not going to just push you physically. There has got to be mental changes in what you do, how you say, how you think, how you speak, like everything, how you show up in life. There just has to be. There has to be mental changes that happen too. And this book, Dianetics, you guys, it is a tool in your toolbox that's going to help you do that. Like I say this at the end of the episode. I'm like, you're welcome. This could be a life-changing moment for you. So listen to this conversation around it. Listen to what Josie has to say about mental changes and the possibility and what you can do. It's exciting. Like listening to this shit gets me fired up because it can change the course of everything for you. And this episode might be one of those moments. All right, everyone, go to the show notes, get the book, let me know if you have questions, and enjoy the show. Hey everyone, welcome to the Bomb Life Podcast. Today we have Josie Gibson on. Welcome, Josie.
Thank you, Melissa. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited and I'm so glad that we connected because like mental health and diving into all of the stuff that like make us stuck, how we can get unstuck, like anxiety, like the more we can just connect that with health and like fitness and know that that has to happen along the journey of like getting strong and whatever. Oh my God, people become unstoppable. This is my jam,
gosh,
girl.
yes.
So
Love it.
you're the director of communications for Bridge Publications, okay?
Yes.
And you are the spokesperson for the book Dianetics. How did this happen? How did this become the thing you talk about? How did you get hooked up with this company? What's your story behind this?
That's a great question. Well, my name is Josie Gibson, and I found the book Dianetics, The Modern Science of Mental Health several years ago. And I really was dealing with some, internal problems of really knowing who I am. And I wanted to have stability of myself and not have other people's opinions or thoughts about it. And so I was referred the book Dianetics, and it really just from reading it alone helped me so much to actually get rid of all of the, the clutter that can build up sometimes.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes it's hard to really, differentiate other people's thoughts and opinions versus who you are. But when you have a stability in that, it's a very powerful thing.
Okay.
And because of how much it helped me, I then fell into a career on it. And now I work at the publisher, Bridge Publications, and I get to every day get to help people become aware of Dianetics as well as, experience the miracles that can really happen for people because they really get down to the roots and get rid of all of the source that's causing their anxieties and their stresses and even those self-doubts that you have roaming around. And I get to help people with that every day.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, and my audience is, no stranger to the conversation around mental health and anxiety. And you just never know what guest will come on and will say, something that maybe we've heard something before, read a book, heard on a podcast, an inspirational thing. And then Josie comes on and she explains it in a different way. And like something just clicks. And you never know what message that will be, what podcast episode you'll hear, and that'll happen. And that's why I love just talking about this over and over and over again and getting different views and different opinions on it. And Dianetics, it's all about a specific technique, correct? Okay.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Tell me about the technique, like kind of give it to us for dummies.
Okay, good. Well, I'm going to take it back very simply first and just explain a little bit about what Dianetics is.
Okay.
So Dianetics is it's a book, and it's also a science of the mind. There's actually two parts of the mind, which the book goes over. And there's the positive side of the mind, and that every day you use that. That is the analytical mind. It thinks very clearly. You're able to calculate, you solve problems, you're creative, you're motivated, all the really positive parts of ourselves. And then secondarily, we have the bad or the negative part of the mind. And that is called in Dianetics, the reactive mind. So this part of the mind is actually the source and the reason behind all of our fears, anxieties, stresses, irrational behaviors, self-doubts, like those things that we really don't like about ourselves are stored in this reactive mind and can be triggered or what's called re-stimulated later in life and cause us to lash out or to have, heavy turns of depression or anxiety or grief and those emotions that can really burden us and hold us back. And the reason for that is because we have past negative experiences in our life and moments of pain and unconsciousness. And these moments are defined as engrams. And these engrams are moments of pain and unconsciousness when your reactive mind is recording everything that's happening around you. So, you stub your toe on the door frame, your mind at that point, and your reactive mind is picking up the pain of the toe, the person next to you saying, "Oh, are you okay?"
Mm-hmm.
The feeling of your hand on the door, the temperature of the air, every little part that's happening during that moment, the reactive mind is recording. And then what can happen is that later in life, a situation or an environment is very similar to that engram, right? And it can cause you to feel that same kind of stress or that anxiety that you felt when you stubbed your toe. Or maybe all of a sudden your toe starts to kind of ache, but you have no reason for it.
Yeah.
That is actually stemming from that reactive mind, which is making that situation seem like it's the first situation, right? And you could expand that even more in life. If you have situations in your life where you continue to act the same way over and over and over, but you don't really have a reason for it. You don't know why it happened. Maybe you are doing good in one area of your life and you're like, yes, I'm doing really great in my career. And then you come home and nothing goes right at home, but you don't know why. There's no rational reason for it, but just everything is it's always horrible. Nothing goes right. Right. But there is a reason for that. And that actually is described in the book Dianetics. And there is, as you were saying, a technique and a technology to actually help a person to remove and get rid of the part that is negative, and that reactive mind. You actually can remove it so that it no longer has an impact on you, and it doesn't store those triggers anymore.
Well, I was just going to say, like, so do you think that these stored events, which is essentially stored trauma, in our body, no matter how high it is or low, like it could be as simple as stubbing the toe or, an abusive attack or whatever. But do you feel that those things like stored in our body, yes, they can trigger us. Yes, they can. Or what was the word that you used? Not trigger.
Re-stimulate.
Re-stimulate. That's a great word to describe it. Yeah. When you're re-stimulated, because those other things are kind of like stored in the body, does that also trigger and bring up like anxiety because that hasn't been cleared, and that's linked to our anxiety too, and we don't even know it?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's these anxieties or these engrams that can be triggered or re-stimulated later in life. They're actually stored in the reactive mind. You have two parts of the mind, and that reactive mind is the part of the mind that is storing all of that. And at any given point, it can reactivate and cause a person to lash out. And the same goes for, there's something called psychosomatic illnesses. And these are illnesses that are caused by the mind. So just like, really heavy bouts of anxiety, like you were saying, and you feel that stress and those like sharp knives and butterflies in your stomach, that is a symptom that's occurring because the reactive mind is thinking, oh, this is a terrifying situation right now. It might not even be that big of a deal. It could be just publicly speaking, right? I had a friend who was terrified of public speaking, like not even in front of her coworkers, go up in front of all of her friends and say like a little line, right? And it was just every time like super sharp razor blade knives in her stomach. And it wasn't until she actually found the reason and used the Dianetics technique and found the root cause of that anxiety that she was able to completely get rid of that, like totally. So then when she went up and talked in front of her friends, she was like, no big deal. It's okay. Like it's not a problem anymore because you actually address the root problem. And that is the key of Dianetics, is that you are getting down to the actual problem, because I feel like it's a very common thing in life for people to go about in life and just have a Band-Aid, stick it over. Okay, keep going.
Yeah.
Put a Band-Aid over it. It's fine. Just keep going. And I think that that's something that we've been almost conditioned at this point to just think is normal and okay to continue to do, even though internally we know that we're not okay.
Right.
So Dianetics is special. It actually helps a person to completely break that stigma and get out of it for good. Because when you use the Dianetics technique, you actually drain this reactive mind so that it can't react against you anymore. And you have, you're clearly thinking at that point. You're just you. And I think that's really important, is that then you get to make the decision of, okay, great, I am going to be terrified in this moment because it's a rational reaction, versus, me going up and talking on a stage, not necessarily a rational reaction when I'm just talking to my friends, right? So we have rational reactions. We think clearly, even our intelligence goes up at that point. Dianetics does that. It helps a person to really become the best version of themselves. So it's just simply you thinking.
Well, I saw somewhere in, I don't know, maybe in the stats that you gave me or something, that like 70% of human ailments are psychosomatic. Like, that's crazy. That is a high number of just things that like we actually could control, but we think like, oh, I just got this and I'm sick. And now this is what I have.
Yeah, it's so true. And it does talk about in Dianetics how 70% of our illnesses are psychosomatic, but
nuts.
Right. But if we also were to actually address the roots of our problems, then we could get rid of some of those things because, we ultimately are the people who are in control of ourselves. And if we're causing ourselves to have, a lot of those irrational behaviors, even anxiety, like that and stress, how many times have you felt way, 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 way overly stressed or overwhelmed and you were just like, you've hit your max capacity and you can't go past that moment.
Right.
And then you start to like basically tear yourself down a little bit and you're like, okay, I'm just going to not be as productive or I'm not going to take on more or whatever. And then you end up actually, not doing as much as you actually could have, right? Yeah, if we actually handle the root, which is the reactive mind, and we get into those engrams and we actually handle them and address them, then we honestly don't have that anymore to be restimulated and to react irrationally.
It almost sounds too good to be true because I know there's people, and I love playing devil's advocate, so just go with me. But I'm sure there's people listening going like, okay, yeah, well, I've been working on this in therapy for a really long time. Like, what's the difference between Dianetics and these techniques and what we can learn in this book versus like a traditional therapy where people are going and like, okay, let's really dive into your childhood. Like, why do you feel abandoned? Why do you have these abandonment issues now, as a 38-year-old woman? And what's happening with that? Like, what is the difference between it? Because I'm sure people are sitting there going, yeah, right. I am so sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I can answer that. The main difference about there's actually two differences about Dianetics and the biggest points that I want to bring up. And the first is that in Dianetics, you work with another individual and you're using this Dianetics technique. And when you do that, what you're doing is you're actually locating these past negative experiences that we have, right? And you are working with this person to actually go back and dig into it because some of them are blanked out in our minds and we don't want to remember them because there's pain there, right? So that person is going to help you and guide you to that moment. And then what you do is that you remove all of the negative mental energy that's connected around it. So like I use this analogy where if you've ever had an argument with a friend and, a week later, you're still upset about it. For some reason, you just can't get the chip off your shoulder and you're still upset about it. But then, you end up talking to that friend and you realize, oh, well, there was just total misunderstanding and it just dissolves right then. Right. And then you guys are back in communication and everything is perfect and it's totally fine. But there was just a miscommunication. You weren't seeing the full picture. Right. So that's a very simple example. But if you were to expand that into your mental health, we blank out these moments of pain in our life. And when we don't have the full picture of it, we are not able to actually handle that, right? Because there's something that's still doesn't really make sense, or we still have an upset there or some kind of pain. So when we actually address that and we're able to see the full picture and go, oh, well, I can piece all these pieces together, you're able to actually remove the negative mental energy that you have there and completely resolve it with yourself. So there's no upset there. And it actually turns just into a memory, just as if you were to have that argument with your friend, right? It's just a memory. Oh, that happened. That's fine. But you can think clearly from there, right? But what you're doing with this partner is that they are not evaluating for you. And they're not telling you, oh, well, this is why you act like that. Or this is why you have this problem. Or, oh, yeah, remember when you blah? And they're not going to tell you any of that. They're simply there to just listen to you and to help you and to guide you. And I think that's the biggest difference of Dianetics, because other techniques out there, they evaluate for you and tell you what's wrong with you, or tell you, well, you're messed up because of X, Y, Z. And maybe that's not true for you, right? But you are the only person who knows yourself, and you know yourself better than anybody else. And so when you're able to actually go on this journey for yourself, I think that's a very, very, very powerful, because it's just you making that decision for yourself of, oh, I see the full picture now and I understand it. And then on the other side of that, Dianetics is the only technique in the technology out there that actually addresses the reactive minds. This actually was a previously unknown and hidden portion of the mind. So until Dianetics was developed, it actually was not known that there was a reactive mind. It was known that there is, there's something else, and we don't exactly know why we act irrationally. But the reactive mind is the only the source of all these anxieties and stresses. And when you actually address that with Dianetics, you're able to completely overcome it. And Dianetics is the only technology out there that actually does that for a person.
Hey, Bomb Life fam, I have a question for you. Are you the kind of person who crushes it at work, shows up for your family, checks off every to-do list, but when it comes to your fitness, your energy, and your confidence, it feels like something's missing? You might be doing the workouts, listening to all the right podcasts. I mean, you are listening to this one. But deep down, you know you're just kind of going through the motions and you're done playing small in this area of life. That's exactly why I created Fit Mind Coaching, my private one-on-one program for high-achieving women and men who are ready to level up. This isn't just another fitness plan. This is about building the body and the mindset to match the life you're working so damn hard for. Because success in business means nothing if you're hiding in hoodies, avoiding mirrors, or dragging through your day with zero energy, or showing up on Zoom meetings feeling good from the chest up, but praying no one ever sees what's going on below the screen. We're talking about fat loss, muscle building, and real confidence that bleeds into every area of your life, your boardroom, your bedroom, and your parenting. You want it all? Good. You should have it all. Let's go.
Weight Watchers now offers access to affordable GLP-1s. It works for members like
I'm Haley, and I've lost 100 pounds. Weight Watchers has everything I need, from weight loss medications to nutrition support and help with my side effects. It's all in one place.
Weight Watchers handles the insurance for you and offers affordable cash pay options. With our program, our members are losing more weight with expert nutrition and side effect support.
I'm Mike, and I've lost 135 pounds. Weight Watchers prescribing GLP-1 medications. It's been life-changing.
I'm Sharia, and I lost 80 pounds on Weight Watchers. I realized that it would take more than a prescription to lose weight and feel good on a GLP-1.
Better results, expert support, lose more weight, make it last.
I can't imagine doing a GLP-1 without Weight Watchers.
Get started for as low as $25 at weightwatchers.com/GLP1. For over 60 years, we've helped millions of members find what works for them. Now, it's your turn. Weight Watchers. Watch it work.
Click the link in the show notes and book your free call with me today. Let's build the strongest, most confident version of you inside and out. You're ready for more, and I'm ready to show you how. Back to the show. I mean, what you're saying, like, it makes sense to me in the way too that, and how I like train my clients, like, because there's so many people out there that are just like, tell me what to do, and they're like, just give me the answer, be my trainer, tell me exactly what to do, how many to do, and tell me exactly what to eat. Right.
Yeah.
And they just want to be told what to do. And like, I'm there to guide them through it. Right. But with how I do it, it's like, yes, I'm willing to give you pieces, but like, you need to figure this out. I can give you a guide of like foods to eat, but you really need to see what works best for you and what doesn't. I can't just give you, well, I mean, I could, but I don't agree with it anymore. It's like a meal plan. Like if I give you a meal plan, you're not going to learn. You're not going to get down to the root cause of why you don't eat this way, or what happened to your hunger, or what's going on with your metabolism. Like you have to learn. But there's so many people who are just like, no, I need a trainer. I need someone in person telling me what to do. Or it's like, if I'm doing it virtually, I'm like, I'm your trainer. I'm your guide. I'm there. But like your ass has to get up and get to the gym. You need to go lift and figure out how to do 2 more without me standing next to you going, come on, 2 more. Right. So I can relate how it's like, you're doing the work, you're getting in there, and yes, therapy and all that's great, but like, you're right. Someone else is kind of like guiding you through it. And I could see how it would not prevent, but I don't know another word to say right now, but kind of like prevent you from getting down to like the meat of the issue all on your own.
There's another key datum, I guess, that you could say is what is true for you is what is true for you, right? Like, there is not another, I personally, this is my own pet peeve. I hate when people tell me what I have to believe or what I should know or how I should act or whatever. And that's my own personal pet peeve. But also I have experience telling other people, oh, well, you act like blah, or you should do blah. And it never ends well, like never ends well. So when you actually are addressing your mental health for yourself and really getting the full picture for yourself, I think that's way more powerful because you get to do that. And again, like I was saying, there is nobody who knows you better than you know you, and you are ultimately going to be that person that sparks the change in yourself. And I think that is very, very, very important.
Right. I think a lot of people too walk around and they think like, we think on the outside, or they might think about themselves that, oh, I'm successful. I got a good house, a good marriage. I got a good job going on. Like my family is like fine. And they might not even realize it, but especially other people don't realize it. Like they are mentally stuck. There are areas in their life where they're stuck. So I think we can't be fooled by what we think is successful, and oh, they got it all together. And it's like, they don't. And they even know that they don't. And I work with pretty, driven, high achieving people. And when others find out they're working with me, they're like, what? You seem you're doing great. And they're like, oh, I got it going on in the boardroom, like a lot's happening there, like on my podcast or my business. But on the inside, they are hurting. They are stuck. They're like, oh no, I am like in fat pants right now. But when I'm on Zoom meetings, you can only see me from here down, and they're like totally hiding. And they're like, I am stuck in a lot of areas of my life. And I know it looks good, somewhere on the outside, but in the inside, like I'm dying. And they're like, I'm not sleeping at night. I'm picking the wrong foods. I'm not showing up for me. I got so many good things happening here, but back here, man, I don't even know if I could bench the bar at this point. And
Right.
That's a problem, I think. And you probably see that too, having conversations about this all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's very interesting to look at people who have very good mental health versus other people, and you can tell. And there's a light and a shining, like they shine brighter when your mental health is doing very well. You shine a lot brighter in all aspects of your life, whether that's with yourself and your career, whether that's with your groups, whether that's with your partner or your family and your kids, and even, helping mankind out there. Like you are so much more able to do a lot more things in your life and take care of the others around you when you are doing well. So absolutely. I think that's a very, very good point. And I've also worked with several people who are very high achievers. I've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs who have used the book and the technique of Dianetics. And one of them in particular, she was really struggling personally because she would always self-sabotage, and specifically in relationship. Always, always, like there was not a person that she didn't cast in her life. And, all the men came in and she was like, okay, great. And I have to be the first one to cut this off. And I'm not going to love you, whatever. But what actually happened is that she had watched the passing of her best friend when she was younger. And that had a really powerful, a really big impact on her life. And there was actually, trauma that was stored there. Sure. And that was later, seeping into her life. And so she was just cutting off every relationship. And in turn, she wasn't doing the best in her life. And then it wasn't until she actually used the technique of Dianetics and addressed that root problem that she was able to finally let go of that and go, great, I'm going to think sanely and clearly right now. And I actually can have an amazing husband and amazing kids and a bomb career, like an amazing career. And now she's one of the most influential people out there. But yeah, you absolutely have to get your mind right and get your mental health really, really good. Yeah. It's not good grammar, but you gotta take care of yourself, and then you can take care of other people. And I think that's really important.
Yeah. She probably had no clue that was even
absolutely
connected. Like, and I think a lot of people, when they start evaluating why they're like still 30 pounds overweight, why they're still doing certain things. And they're like, no, I know I just need to get up and get to the gym. Like I already know what I need to do. And I'm just not there yet. I'm comfortable in my life. And they're totally lying to themselves.
Right.
I'm like, you are not happy every day when you get undressed and get dressed and, having sex and let's be real here. But people like to just, I don't know, stay surface and not admit certain things. And you're like, no, I'm fine, and you're like, bitch, you ain't fine. You're not. And you're just trying to hide it.
Yeah. And also on that point, there is also a reason that people make up random reasons for their irrational behaviors. There is absolutely reason for that. And it talks about it in the book Dianetics, and it's actually called justified thoughts. And there's a very, really good description and a reason behind that in Dianetics, but it causes a person to actually say and rationalize their irrational behaviors every single time. every single time because they're just like, oh, well, it's fine. I'm just, I'm just not feeling it today.
Yeah.
I'm just not feeling it. But if you were to actually go back and to use the dynamics technique and address the roots, you would probably find that there is some sort of phrase that was said during an engram that was recorded in the reactive mind that later is being stimulated time and time and time and again when there's a situation that is very similar in an environment that's similar to that first engram. And maybe in that engram, somebody said, I'm just not feeling it today.
Yeah.
And so then they repeat that over and over and over again. So, there is a definitely, Dynex is filled with so many different topics, and that is definitely a subject in there. So you'd probably like that part.
Well, it's crazy. I mean, we can literally justify anything to ourselves. Like, we can lie enough to ourselves to make us believe anything. I mean, look at how many people enter into like a relationship and then it turns abusive and they know it, but then they're like, yeah, but they're so good to me in this way. Like, maybe it's me, and typically if it's an abusive relationship, that person's not healthy. So it's just pouring gasoline on a massive fire that's already going, but we can make it look like there's a million reasons to stay. And
that's so true.
And we know that you just need one to leave. You don't need a million reasons to leave, but we can completely justify that to ourselves. It's just crazy how much we can believe our own lies over and over and over again. I see that too with people with training. And you know what a popular thing is for people to say, like, why they can't do something? Money.
What is it?
Money, finances. It is the most justified reason that people in their head, justified reason for them, that they can't go forward with something. That I can't do this because it's just not in the budget. We don't have the money for it. Like, I can't afford this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh man, and sometimes that's true. Like, you just can't make money just vanish out of nowhere. But when they sit down, like, I've had people be like, oh, I had to cancel my gym membership, because of this, or I can't do this because of that. And then the next thing you know, they're buying or splurging on something that was completely unnecessary. Or you find out they're going out to eat every single night of the week, pretty much. I mean, that's hundreds of dollars at night.
Yeah.
Just one meal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. You see that all the time. But if we actually invested the time, and really anything that we wanted to actually set our mind to, we could do. But there is also a reason behind why we don't do that, or why we don't have the motivation to do things, or why we procrastinate, why we keep doing having the same habit happen over and over and over, and no matter what, you can't break it. No. And there is a reason for it, and it all lies back in the reactive mind, and Dynamics does address that and get you past that so that you don't have to continue that cycle. You break it totally and completely. Yeah. And the cool thing about Dynamics is that it never comes back. So rather than, just slapping a Band-Aid on it and saying, great, I'm just going to cope today, and I'm just going to be okay for, whatever it is, a day, a week, a month, maybe a year or whatever, right? Dynamics completely handles all of the source and the problems so that the anxieties, the stresses, the self-doubts, the procrastination, the lack of motivation, it doesn't come back. And you are fueled for life. Like, you are fueled and you are just simply you, and you have more energy. You're more productive. You're creative. You're motivated. You are just simply you innately. And I think that's one of the most empowering, states that you could possibly be in as a person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. And that I bring everything back to health and fitness, like everything. Yeah. It reminds me of, like, if you do this journey right and you do it slow and you take everything off like 1 pound at a time, you work on the brain and you work on the body at the same time. We're not taking magic pills and shots and shakes. Like, we're doing it one step at a time. It will never come back.
Yeah.
So I like how it can be related. Like, if you do the real work on the inside, that's not coming back ever. And I know we have to read the book, and like that will give us everything. But are there any, like, I don't know, immediate, like, useful tips, or even like, can you give us insight into different techniques that they use that, I don't know, because I'm sure people are listening going, well, like, how like, how can we do it? Obviously read the book, get the big picture how, but can you answer that for us today? A little bit of like the how?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a very step-by-step technique. And as you're saying, obviously you have to read the book to get the full understanding. But I will say that just simply by reading the book, that alone gives you the power of knowledge.
Yeah.
And that can absolutely give you the power back to be able to recognize, oh, well, this is a reactive moment. And I know that, and I'm going to control myself because, I know that this was similar to a past incident that I had, and that's okay. And I'm just going to be here in the present, right? So just simply by reading the Dianetics book, you're actually able to, yeah, absolutely. Because when you have knowledge, that's honestly priceless, and that gives you power. So that's the first thing. And then secondarily, there is a technique in Dianetics, and it's a very simple step-by-step technique that anybody can do. You can read the book with a partner and then do the technique even in your home. But what you're doing is you're addressing and locating these past negative experiences that you have, right? And this person you're working with, we call it in Dianetics an auditor. And that is simply somebody who listens. And that person is there to just simply listen and to be a team with you to help you to actually locate these painful moments, right? And at the same time, because some of those moments are blanked out in our minds, that person can be of assistance to actually help you. Because when the reactive mind is, you're getting into the reactive mind, right? You're digging into the reactive mind, and you are finding those painful moments. And when that is going, the reactive mind can be quite powerful, and you need another person there to actually, help you and be that support.
Kind of stuff like they'd ground you, like they're
a little bit. Yeah, exactly. They're that person that's going to be able to use their analytical power and their analytical mind to actually, work with you to address these moments. So you are actually going to locate these moments, and you're going to use this Dianetics technique over and over and over on that same moment. And you're getting rid of the negative mental energy that's connected to it, right? Whether it's grief or it's pain or it's, anxieties or stresses or whatever feelings and emotions you had at that very moment, or maybe it was somebody else's, but you are looking at it and taking it back so that you can see the full picture, right? And then what you're doing is that you completely get rid of the negative mental energy that's connected to it. So you simply just have a memory, and it no longer has that attachment or that chain that's connected to it. And you can from then on live clearly and not have that same moment happen over and over and over again. And then the goal of Dianetics is to actually achieve what's called the state of clear. And that is simply just somebody who no longer has the reactive mind. So that is the goal. And thousands of people out there are achieving this every single year and day because it works time and time again. It's a workable science that there are so many people that are achieving this state of clear where they no longer have the chains of a reactive mind, and they're not being triggered or re-stimulated in their life anymore. And they're clearly just thinking for themselves. So that's the goal of Dianetics. And it's a very powerful state to be in.
Yeah.
Then you.
Well, because I'm sure the unhealed state that you're living in, I mean, that silently shapes how you are as a parent, a partner, a lover, showing up in the gym, all of that is just kind of guiding you. I don't know. I could just think of examples of if I hadn't done the work that I've done, how I would parent today would be completely different. I would not be on the path as a parent that I am today. I would probably be continuing some cycles along, that were not the best. And because I have done the work and gone on the path, I can see now how, I am breaking cycles and stuff. But can you think of examples of how, I don't know, people that you've worked with or stories of people that there was clearly unresolved stuff and it was impacting how they were taking a different direction of life?
Yeah, I actually recently worked with a person, and he had lost his mom recently, and he was really, he didn't have a reason for it, but he was so upset. And this was months after, right? And to a degree, it is correct to feel upset and to feel grief, but he was almost soaking in it a bit, and he realized that that's not how he normally operates, and he didn't like that. So I worked with him, and what we actually found out, and as we're using the Dianetics technique, is that the loss of his mom was actually connected to the loss of his dad. And he didn't think that it was connected because he lost his dad when he was like a year and a half or so.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I mean, yeah, it's fine. I lost my dad, but I didn't know him. It's okay. But then he was still really upset. And the reason is that it was connected to this past moment. And there was a lot of grief that was coming from his mom. And he picked up on all that emotion. And that is the same emotion that he was using with his mom and the loss of his mom. And it was actually amazing because he when we finished the session is what it's called. It was about an hour or so. He was so relieved. He was smiling so bright and he was so happy. He's like, oh my God, like I cannot believe that that's what it was. And that's what was holding me back. And I can finally I'm thinking of all these beautiful memories of my mom. And I just have that. And I don't feel burdened or held back by, this heavy grief that I have anymore.
He learned how to carry from her grief. Like,
exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So that was one really incredible one that I worked on. And then another one, I had a friend who her husband actually was a biker and he got into an accident and hurt his leg. And then after that, he was on crutches and everything. And then he went into the doctor and he was told, you're going to have to get surgery. We're going to have to put pins in and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And he was upset by it. He's like, this is not awesome. Like, this sucks. And she had used the Dianetics technique before. And she was like, look, you should get medical attention and so on and so forth because you need that. Mm-hmm. But before we get surgery and everything, I want you to do the Dianetics technique and just, alleviate and get rid of all of the negative mental charge that you have on this incident, because that is very important for healing. And she tells this story where he went in and he got a session, maybe like 2 hours or so. And he went in with a cane and he came out with no cane. And he was jumping all over the place and his leg was all like he was jumping on his leg and everything. And she's like, oh my goodness. And he was like, it's gone. Like the pain is gone. I completely got rid of all the pain. And that's another incident, of the psychosomatic illness where he addressed the root of his pain
mm-hmm.
and what was sticking that pain and got rid of it so that he completely got rid of it.
That's crazy.
So that was an amazing miracle of Dianetics, as we like to call it.
Yeah, I believe it, girl. Like so much gets stuck in there. And I just talked about this on another episode not that long ago. And I was talking about, because that's that connection of the mental work along with the physical, again, so important to do at the same time. And I love now we have another tool and know about this to be able to use on our journey. Because all my listeners, clients, like you're either interested or you're on the journey, right? Like that's why they're here. So I love that we have another tool for them. But the other things that they have going on in their life that people just don't realize how much that's attached to them holding on to the weight or not showing up or turning to food. And there's just so much that could be clogging up our system that's impacting everything else and making you sick or have an injured shoulder. And they're like, no, that happened because I was walking the dog and he pulled me really fast. And ever since then, my shoulder wasn't the same. Is it? Is it? Like what else was going on? What else are you storing there? And and I am sure there are people, and what would you say to the naysayers that are listening to this going, oh my God, like really? He went in with a cane, came out with a cane. Like, what would you say to them that are listening right now going, I don't know about this?
I would say that, we all have things that we want to address in ourselves. And whether we admit it to ourselves or whether we tell other people about it, that's up to you. But we all have something we want to improve. And that's just a fact. And there's always room for improvements. And you have to be willing to actually, improve yourself and get yourself to the point where you're willing to experience the change and improve yourself and elevate yourself. And every person's different. So you just got to take the journey for yourself and know that there is something new to do about your mental health. And there is a reason for everything that's happening that you're not sure why it happens. There is a reason for it. And you can find out about it in Dianetics.
Well, this was a great conversation around it. how can people find the book? How can they find you? We'll put everything in the show notes too, but what is the best way for us and our listeners to get our hands on this?
Yeah, well, you can go to dianetics.org if you'd like more information. Okay. And then, of course, you can buy the book anywhere that books are sold.
Okay.
And then if you want, you can also follow us on our socials. It's at Dianetics, and you can follow along with all the awesome stories that happen.
Oh, perfect. Josie, this was like so amazing. I love bringing more connection and awareness to the physical and the mental and how important all that is. Like, thank you so much for coming on and sharing and talking more about this. I hope everyone that's listening, like, jumps on, starts to do the work, reads the book. And I talk about, like, everyone has this giant toolbox. And in order to be successful, we have to put as many tools as we can into that box. This is another one. You're welcome. Like, this is another tool that's going to help you be successful, and you can't have enough tools in that box. So
yep.
Thank you again for coming on. This was great. Everyone, go to the show notes, check it out, get it, read it, use it, apply it, and live your best life ever. Thank you again, Josie.
Thank you.
Everyone, stay safe, stay healthy. Until next time. The Bomb Life podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The content shared here is not intended as medical, legal, or professional advice. Always consult with a qualified professional before making any health, fitness, financial, or legal decisions. The opinions shared on this podcast are personal experiences and insight. So if you need expert guidance, go find the right professional for you. Thanks for listening.